Alright, what's up, guys? So, today we're going to be watching Andrew Tate versus Piers Morgan on a debate that they had on Talk TV. And we're going to get right into it, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on this. Alright? Let's hop right in.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, there's some every...
To a certain extent, I see what he's saying because I believe in the power of the subconscious mind, and I think through your words, you hypnotize yourself. So if you are speaking negativity into your life at all times and claiming that you are depressed and claiming that you're sad and all these negative things, ultimately you are shaping your reality. You are shaping what is around you because you are speaking it into existence. I believe that, words have power. Why do you think they call it spelling? Because you are casting a spell. So when you are speaking negativity at all times, the outcome is going to be negativity. But when you speak positivity at all times, you are going to start creating positive things in your life. I'm speaking from experience. It's all about a mindset switch. And I understand there are some outliers and some people who, have chemical imbalances in their brain and might have low serotonin. I understand that. But for the most part, as a man, you have to be able to separate your feelings and, stay disciplined. You have to be able to tell yourself, okay, I might not feel too good right now, but the position that I'm in right now, this is not the best position I want to be in for the rest of my life. So whether I feel like it or not, the only way to get past this is to grind it out, is to do the things that I have to do, whether I feel like it or not. Because if I stay sad and I stay depressed and I use that as a reason to not do anything, this is going to be my life for the rest of my life. So look around you and get happy with where you're at. If that's going to be your excuse, that's going to be what you ultimately are successful in. You're going to be successful in saying that you are depressed and that you are sad. So the choice is yours, really.
Major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people.
All right. He's already, trying to corner him, trying to put him into a position that's not very favorable for Tate. He's trying to put him into a position to where whatever answer he answers favors Piers Morgan.
That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty
than someone.
anti-25-year-old women.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're
is
saying
different.
18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, then age.
And I think, the double standard is crazy because at the end of the day, if you're a grown man and whatever you prefer is your preference, like a woman saying that, she wants a guy that is, in his prime, 30 years old, successful. They want him 6 foot. They want him to drive a Mercedes, Rolex, own multiple businesses. Nobody bats an eye. But, as a man, when you have your requirements, suddenly it seems to be a problem. Because what Piers Morgan just said doesn't sound like a misogynistic statement. It sounds like he has a preference.
Just perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny?
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
But if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't
and-
mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a
They
conversation.
have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation
They're not
to
allowed
have.
to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with
But
me.
is that the kind of world for a woman that you
I was mediating.
applaud?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an
Is that there are
excuse.
parts of the world where this is fine?
My
So
friend.
my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This
I
isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't.
He's not even letting him answer the question how he wants to. He's saying, well, do you think it's fine? Well, you don't think it's fine. Well, you should say it this way. You should say it this way. He's trying to get him to play with the deck of card that he deals. This is a power move. In the 48 Laws of Power, it talks about something like this. Let's see. Let's take a look. Which law is this? All right, the 31st law. Okay, let's go to the 31st law in the 48 Laws of Power. Let's go ahead and see, because right now what he's doing is a power move. He's doing a power move, and I'm going to tell you why. So, in the 48 Laws of Power, Law 31 says control the options. Get others to play the cards you deal. The best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. That's what he's doing right now. He's asking him a question, making it seem like he has a choice, but when he's trying to explain himself and give his answer, he's quickly trying to cut him off and say, hey, no, you should answer it this way. Because ultimately, he's not really giving him an option. He wants him to go in a direction that he wants to steer it in. But when it's not going, when it's getting off the rails, because Tate is, given his own opinion, all of a sudden now he has to steer it back this way. So it says the best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel they are in control, but are actually your puppets. Give people options that come out in your favor, whichever one they choose. Force them to make choices between the lesser of two evils, both of which serve your purpose. Put them on the horns of a dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn. So let's go back and let's take a look at that and see how this applies to this.
Said it, Andrew. You can simply say
I live in a world where
you don't think it's fine. My question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
My question to you, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine.
I don't think it's fine.
the reason
This isn't that hard.
You don't think it's fine. And Tate is just trying to explain himself. The reason he's calmly trying to explain himself. And Piers Morgan immediately has to interrupt. You don't have to.
Andrew, you can say
I think it's fine. I live in a world
You don't
where
think
you
it's
don't
fine.
think it's fine.
the reason
This
I
isn't that hard, Andrew. You can
This isn't that hard, Andrew. Like, bro, he's trying to explain himself. Let the man speak. He doesn't even want him to. This is, he wants to control all the options. This is a power move right here.
simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth, then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's
That's
the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is the world we live in. The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say it differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything.
Exactly. I think the people who are misunderstanding it are kids, because young people who have no experience in life can take things to an extreme. You tell them, hey, don't do this. And all of a sudden they take that and they do something completely different than what you told them, because they don't have experience and they don't have the knowledge to be able to take information and say, okay, I see what he's saying. See in between the lines. You have to be able to have experienced things in order to relate with the message and be able to apply it to your life correctly.
Opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Yeah, man. That's the video for today. I think Piers Morgan was not letting the man speak. He wanted to control the whole narrative. He didn't want him to voice his opinions on these things. He wanted to have him come on the show and basically tell him, hey, you're wrong. Say it this way. But Tate stood on what he said, and you know, he kept it a buck. So I gotta respect it. Alright guys, that's the video for today. Like the video, comment down below what you think, and subscribe. If you got any videos like this, anything interesting, send it my way and I'll react to it. Alright? Peace out guys.